Good morning, everyone. Today I am here with a new chapter of science, that is nutrition in animals. In your last chapter, you have read about the nutrition in plants. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the nutrition in animals. Before going to starting this chapter, I would like to remind you the definition of the nutrition that you have done in your last chapter. Yes, now what is nutrition? Nutrition is the taking in of food and utilizing this food to get energy to do the various works. Now, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the steps of the nutrition in animals, different ways of taking food, nutrition in unicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms, and the digestion, how the food is digested in humans and in ruminants. Now, what are the steps of the nutrition in the body of different organisms? Firstly, ingestion. What is ingestion? It is the taking in of the food into the body. Next is digestion. Digestion means breaking down the food into the simpler forms with the help of different enzymes. Next is absorption. After digestion, the soluble products of the digestion are absorbed into the different body cells through the bloodstream. Next is assimilation. After absorption, that soluble products are used in our body for growth and repair. After that, the undigested food is eliminated from our body, that is known as digestion. Now there are different ways of taking in food in different animals. Like in birds, they are having beaks to take in food. In a frog has a very long sticky tongue to catch the prey. There are some small animals like insects and worms that have small mouth parts for ingesting their food. And hydra is a freshwater organism. It lives in ponds and ditches. It has outgrowths known as tentacles to take in their food. Paramecium, a unicellular organism, has cilia to enclose its food. After this, we are going to learn about the nutrition in unicellular organism. Here we are taking the example of amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism, meaning it is made up of single cell. It is usually found in ponds and ditches. It means it is a freshwater organism. It lives in fresh water. And it's depends on mostly microscopic plants and animals that live in ponds for its food. What happens in amoeba? When it comes in contact with any food particles, what happens in amoeba? There are finger-like projections on its body known as pseudopodia. When any food particles come in contact with amoeba, the pseudopodia enclose that food particles and make small cavities known as vacuole, food vacuole. And inside this food vacuole, the food meaning microscopic plant or animal is digested, and after digestion it is absorbed and assimilated, and the undigested food is pushed out of the body in the same manner through the pseudopodia. Like in this diagram, it is shown here in first one, and in first two diagrams, a pseudopodia enclosing the food particles. After that, in second diagrams, it is enclosed and a food vacuole is made. After food vacuole, the formation of food vacuole, inside the food vacuole, it is digested with the help of many digestive juices, and after the digestion, assimilation and absorption is done, and the undigested food is pushed out of the body. It was all about the nutrition amoeba. Now, next topic is nutrition in animals. Nutrition in humans. In our body, in the body of humans, what is here? The food passes through a number of organs in the body that together make an alimentary canal, or also known as digestive system. Same steps are going to follow in our body also. First is ingestion, then digestion, after that absorption, then assimilation, and at the end ingestion is taking place. First of all, ingestion. In ingestion, food is ingested through mouth. In our mouth, there are teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. The teeth break down the food into the small pieces. The process of breaking down food into small pieces is known as mastication. After that, one more thing that is there in our mouth, saliva is there. Inside saliva, there is one enzyme known as salivary amylase. This salivary amylase acts on carbohydrates, like it converts starch into sugar. This starch is a type of carbohydrate, and the salivary amylase enzyme converts starch into sugar. Now, like in our mouth, there are teeth. That teeth perform the process of mastication. Basically, in our mouth, there are the different type of teeth that are incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. First of all, incisors. These are also known as biting teeth. These are flat and blade-like. These helps to cut the food particles into small pieces. Next is canines. Canines are having very sharp edges. They are also known as tearing teeth. These help in tearing the food particles. Next are premolars. They are very border. They are having very broader grinding surface and help in grinding the food. Next is molars. These have very wide grinding surface and help in chewing the food. Basically, incisors and canines help to cut and tear the food, and the premolars and molars help in chewing the food properly. Next, in our mouth, there is tongue. Tongue is also a very important part of our digestive system. It is fleshy. It is a muscular organ of our mouth. It helps to mix the saliva with the food. It is also a very important sense organ of our mouth. It has taste buds on it to taste the different type of foods. It has different type of taste buds to taste the food, as it has taste buds for bitter, sour, salty and sweet. Next, after mouth, food is reaches into stomach through a long tube. That tube is known as esophagus. How does food reaches from mouth to stomach? The main role is played by the esophagus. Now, what does the esophagus do? The walls of the esophagus generally contracts and relaxes to produce wave-like movements. That movements are known as peristaltic movements. These movements help the food to move from mouth into stomach. Now, next organ is stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped organ. It is also a muscular organ of our body. And the inner lining of the stomach secretes some digestive juices, hydrochloric acid, and mucus. Generally, there is the digestive juice secreted by stomach is pepsin. Pepsin acts on protein, and it breaks protein into peptides and polypeptides. And the hydrochloric acid secreted by the stomach is also very useful. It kills the harmful microorganisms and provide acidic medium for the breakdown of the proteins by pepsin. It means pepsin works only in acidic medium. And after that, after the digestion of proteins, the semi-digested food is called the chyme. It reaches from stomach to the small intestine. The small intestine is a very long tube of 6 to 7 centimeter in length. Inside the small intestine, the secretions of the liver and pancreas are also released. The secretion of liver is bile, and the pancreas releases pancreatic juice, in which there are present 3 types of the enzymes, that are trypsin, amylase, and lipase. Trypsin acts on proteins and converts protein into amino acids and polypeptides. And the amylase acts on carbohydrates and helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. It converts carbohydrates into glucose and maltose. And lipase acts on fats and break down the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. And the bile juice that is secreted by the liver is also very useful in the digestion of the fats. It helps in the digestion of the fats by emulsifying them, meaning it disperses the fat particles into it and helps in the digestion of the fats. After the complete digestion of the food, absorption of the food takes place. The inner lining of the small intestine has finger-like projections. That projections are known as villi. This villi has a network of the fine blood vessels that helps in the absorption of the nutrients. The nutrients are absorbed into the blood that is passing through the blood vessels of the villi. After the digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins and fats, the chyme now passes into the large intestine. The large intestine removes the water and minerals by the process of absorption. Now, after absorption, assimilation of the nutrients takes place. The nutrients that are absorbed into the blood are assimilated into the whole body. The glucose is converted into the carbon dioxide, water, and energy is released when oxygen is acted with it. When glucose is oxidized, it converts into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This energy is used into the body to do the various works, and the amino acid that are produced during the digestion of the protein is used up to repair the worn out cells and tissues of the body, and the fatty acids and glycerols acts as the energy reserve for further use. This energy is stored and used when required into the body. Now, after assimilation, digestion of the undigested food is taken place. The undigested semi-solid food, meaning waste, known as feces, is stored into the rectum and it is passes out, thrown out through our the anus out of our body. Now, this was all about the digestion of the food inside the body of the human beings. Now there is one diagram that is representing about the human digestive system, different organs that are helping the digestion of the food in our body. Like in our mouth, salivary glands are there. After that, esophagus is there. Food passes to the esophagus, it reaches into stomach, and stomach digestion of the proteins takes place. And after the digestion of the proteins, food reaches into the small intestine, that is the longest part of our body. Inside the small intestine, the digestion of the proteins, fats and carbohydrates takes place, and after that food reaches into the large intestine. In large intestine, absorption of the food takes place, and after that assimilation, and the undigested food is stored into the rectum and it is thrown out of our body through the anus. Now this was all about the nutrition in humans. Now we are going to learn how the process of nutrition takes place in the body of ruminants. First of all, what are ruminants? Ruminants are the plant eating animals. What do? They swallow a large amount of food at once and bring the swallowed food back into the mouth to chew it again. This process is called rumination, and these grass eating animals are known as ruminants. Same process is going on inside the body of these ruminants. First of all, ingestion. The food is taken through the mouth with the help of tongue. And in the mouth of the ruminants, there are teeth and powerful jaws that helps to chew the food. Now, after that food passes into the stomach through esophagus, and the stomach of the ruminant has four chambers. It has four chambers: rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. The rumen is the largest part of the stomach. It is the first chamber and it is the largest part of the stomach. Basically, it stores the food, semi-digested food, that is known as cud, and it helps to bring the food back into the mouth and rechew it and make it ready to reswallow. This process of bringing the food back into the mouth is known as cud chewing. Inside the rumen, there are millions of bacteria and protozoa which helps in the breakdown of the fiber called cellulose present in the grass. After this, we are going to learn about the second chamber, that is reticulum. And the function of reticulum is very simple. It helps in moving the swallowed food back into the mouth. After that, the food reaches into the third chamber, that is known as omasum. It is the smallest chamber of the ruminant stomach. It absorbs the excess water present inside the food. After this, food reaches into the abomasum, that is the last chamber of the stomach. The walls of abomasum secrete digestive juices that helps in the digestion of the food. Complete digestion of the food takes place inside the abomasum. After that, after complete digestion, absorption of the food takes place. Like in small intestine, what was there? There were the secretions from the pancreas and liver, and the digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats was completed over there, and the digested food leads into the large intestine. Inside the large intestine, the water from the digested food is absorbed, and now the food changes into a solid form. And after absorption, the nutrients are assimilated, and these nutrients are taken up by the cells of the all parts of the body, and the cell oxidize the food to release the energy. After that, at the end, the undigested food that left behind is thrown out of the body in the form of feces. This was all about the nutrition in ruminants. Basically, what happens in case of ruminants? First of all, they swallow a large amount of food and it gets stored into the rumen, that is known as cud, that is partially digested food. After that, again that food reaches into the mouth to rechew it and it is reswallowed. This process is known as cud chewing. And this all process was about the nutrition in animals, basically grass eating animals. And there are some innovative ways to represent the digestive system in the form of cartoons. How this digestion takes place in the body of the humans, like first of all we eat food and it passes through the in the mouth, it is chewed and it passes through the esophagus, it reaches into stomach. In stomach, digestion of the proteins takes place in the presence of acid. After that, it goes into small intestine. In small intestine, secretions from the liver and pancreas are also added inside it. Here the complete digestion of the proteins, carbohydrates and fats is taking place. After the complete digestion, the food goes into large intestine. In large intestine, absorption of the food is taking place. After absorption, The undigested food is thrown out of the body through the anus. This was all about the digestive system in humans. This was all about this chapter, how the process of nutrition takes place in the body of unicellular organisms, in the body of humans, and in the body of ruminants. Okay, thanks for watching this video.